consumer side. And I'll bore you with one quick story. So my partner and I agreed that we were going to give notice to our law firms, and it was a Tuesday. And we agreed, and I said, terrific, and I went and I gave notice. And I went back that night, and I called my partner, and I said, did you give notice? And he said, no, but I will. So Wednesday came, and super excited to get things started. I called him up. You give notice today, right? Hold on, don't worry, I'm going to give notice, don't worry. Okay, Wednesday night, did you give notice? No, but don't worry, I will. So this happened again on Thursday, and actually Thursday morning, he called me up and he said, I want to let you know I've been doing a lot of online research, and I found this company named Food.com, and they just raised, I think it was $70 million, and they want to do what we're doing, and they look at this list of restaurants that they've already signed up. And we're actually in a restaurant 2 blocks from here, and I still remember it, and I said, like, I don't care, you're still giving notice. And he said, don't worry, I will. And fortunately, on Friday he did give notice, and then he called me up and he said, what kind of an idiot gives notice on a Tuesday? He said, I was just waiting for Friday all along, like you just naturally have to sort of close things on your right time. So in any event, I mean, that was going back to the competition thing. That was really one of the times where there were companies that were out there that had been very well capitalized. There were a number of companies that were focused on the consumer market, and our thinking was really one, and I know that a lot of consumer businesses have done incredibly well, especially leveraging the internet, but enterprise businesses, the revenues are a little bit more, a lot more predictable potentially. You can actually build a direct sales force. You know who you want to target. And so you can put together a list of, these are the 300 companies that I want to meet with, and I'm going to figure out how to actually get in front of the right decision makers there. And so we felt like, given that, coupled with in really end of 1999, 2000, while it's only 10 years ago, most consumers didn't have high-speed internet access at their house or dedicated always-on internet access. And so the value proposition from a consumer standpoint was, okay, am I going to go either call or dial up, connect to the internet in a super slow connection, maybe it times out, maybe it doesn't, or I can use the system when I'm at work with a T1. And so, given a few of those sorts of things, and the working capital value of getting paid, prior, and not knowing whether people weren't so readily giving their credit card numbers back in 1999, 2000. So we decided that we'd go the enterprise route, and that for us, I think, was a really pivotal inflection point when we started. So that's were there other companies, or was it a novel idea? Within our starting, I think within probably 3 or 4 months, 2 other companies started almost immediately, and we competed with them, and one of them decided they were going to give the service away for free, and we charged, and that became a very big issue in the marketplace, and we tried to combat that with well, you get what you pay for, and around that time, and it may not bode as well now, but that time there were so many internet-based companies that had gone out of business that we try to explain to people that you actually, while it may appear to be less expensive to go with this other company, if you're rolling out a service to all of your people, you want to have this become part of the company's practice, part of your firm policies, you want to go with a company that's stable, that is well financed, that has a viable business model, and we believe that we do. And if you want to go with the other company, we totally understand, and we're happy to help you with integrating and give you our best practices, because we think that we really developed the best system. And fortunately for us, we tried to have consistent messaging in the marketplace and go and try to take we never spoke badly about our competitors. One of our other competitors always told negative stories about us. And so I mean, look, no matter what, there's always going to be competition. I mean, Google wasn't the first search engine. They just they built a better engine, and they executed better, and they developed a critical mass and benefited from all the technology investments that they made over time. But again, they didn't come up with the idea of search engine. They just said, we think that we can do that better than other people that are out there. So I don't know if that...
Yeah, no, that's great.
Sure.
Quick question. How did you go about dealing with the kind of chicken or egg problem in terms of signing up businesses or signing up restaurants, and then how did you kind of use the businesses that you signed up to kind of negotiate the discount that you kind of had negotiated?
It's a great question, and I was kind of hoping no one would actually ask it. And partly because I mentioned how I went to the CFO and I told him about my business, or about my friend's business, and my partner did as well. We did zero due diligence on the supply side. So we said, oh, terrific, this is an amazing service. We already have 2 companies that are really, really interested. Gave notice, raised money, went out, and there was one restaurant. We actually, my partner was 2 blocks down. I was 2 blocks down and 1 block over. So this area was the restaurant, the initial restaurant network that we actually built out. And every company that we spoke with in this area said, you need to work with this restaurant. And if you don't have this restaurant, we're not going to work with you. So we said, okay, thinking we're going to sign up all these companies, and so why would this restaurant not work? And we quit our jobs, raised money, went out, and we'd had some conversations with the mom and pop deli or what have you, to the point that we felt, but we hadn't really gone into any sophisticated restaurants, partly because we wanted to keep the business discreet. There were other companies that were out there focused on the consumer side. We didn't think it would be that challenging for them to flip and do enterprise stuff. And we went to this one restaurant that everyone said you have to have, sat down with the manager, and she said, yeah, we're just not going to do this. And we said, no, let's explain the pitch to you again. We're going to be an outsourced sales force for you. We're going to help you with collections. We're going to streamline this. We're going to help you with a web presence. We're going to really drive a lot of business to you. We don't get paid unless you make a lot of money. She said, yeah, I got all that. We're just not interested. And so really what we tried to do is leverage the corporate relationships that we had initially to sign on restaurants. And fortunately, my firm agreed that they were going to have 6 restaurants. And our technology wasn't working. As I mentioned, we had 3 concurrent users. So the start of Seamless Web was me going back to the law firm and putting a sign-up sheet out for these 6 restaurants. And at, I can't remember what time, it was 5:30 or something like that, I would literally run around the firm, collecting all these sign-up sheets, fax them over to our office, take a cubicle in the office, and start entering the orders manually, because we couldn't have 3 people on the site at once. So like we would each sort of in rotation enter these orders, and that was the initial site. But through that experience, we actually got some order flow, and then we were able to take one of those invoices that we provided to a restaurant to another restaurant and said, look at how much business we're driving to this restaurant. If you come on, we'll drive that same amount of business to you. And we just got started. And so then we added 1 restaurant. And then once we built up enough, call it 10 restaurants or so, then we went to some more companies. And then we just kept building on either side. But definitely the chicken and egg issue for 2-tiered networks is a really big challenge. One of the nice things, and going back to the competitors for a moment, we got to an inflection point where we either were going to stay focused in the New York City area or try to do a national rollout. And our other 2 competitors basically decided that they wanted to do a national rollout. And our strategy was, okay, if the 2 of them do it, then they're going to fight with each other. They're charging nothing. We have no institutional, no market recognition in the other geographies. Let's try to be dominant in New York City, with the knowledge that a lot of companies that are strong in New York, have a New York presence, also have offices in the other areas. And so what we ultimately did was we tried to develop incredibly strong relationships with companies in New York, especially targeting companies that had offices in Chicago or San Francisco or LA or Boston or DC, and really prioritizing those companies with an idea that while yes, we're working with a company in New York, if we do a good job for them, there'll be no better reference sale than someone within their own company. And so we took the strategy of let's really develop our network in New York. These other companies fought each other out. They were bad-mouthing each other in the marketplace. They never really got any traction. And then we wanted to move to Chicago. We went to investment bank A and law firm B and hedge fund C that had offices there. And we said, you've had a great service. Would you agree to commit to our service in your other city? And they said, absolutely. And then we got signed agreements with them, and we went to the restaurants and we said, that big company over there, we're actually managing their food program for them. We'd like to talk with you about how this program works. And so we kind of systematically did it, leveraging largely the enterprise type relationships that we had to build the network out.